Beagle is a company founded on a question. Can guiding learners to ask better questions improve engagement, critical thinking, collaboration, and overall learning? The research says yes, but the question remained: how to put this proven inquiry-based method into usable products that faculty will actually adopt and use. Beagle has developed just that, a scalable solution that has faculty members leading adoption. If you have sold into the higher education space market, you know that winning over faculty is critical, and Beagle has done it. Asking a good question requires a deep and subtle thought process. Questions reveal what a person does not understand, as well as what they find most interesting. Questions lead people to think about a topic in a new way or expose flaws in arguments. Questioners are more engaged. Beagle addresses each of these opportunities for better learning with tools that let instructors manage the question asking process and use it efficiently to inform their teaching. So why are questions important? Funny you should ask. Welcome Turner to tell you how Beagle can lead you to an answer.
Hello, everyone. So I am Turner Bohlen, CEO of Beagle Learning, and as you just heard from Richard, we're using student questions as a tool for driving better outcomes in higher education. And we've all been in a class like this before, right? Hundreds of students, one instructor. It can be very passive and often very unengaging. And the result is that you have a huge number of the students in this classroom that aren't succeeding. In 6 years' time, 40% of them won't be graduating, and they're also missing a lot of those skills that we really want them to build: social emotional learning, critical thinking, problem solving. So I want to turn this around though, and I want us to think about this from the perspective of the instructor. We've talked to hundreds of instructors. Dr. Cook is a great example. He's a professor at a liberal arts college in the Midwest that we work with. And he knows this is a problem. He wants to be delivering the best education he can for his students, but he doesn't have the time, as we talked about earlier, to understand the needs of every single student or give them the personalized support that they would need to succeed. So as we looked at this problem, we realized that there was a research-backed process called inquiry-based learning that might be really effective at helping to solve this. And an inquiry-based process runs like this. The instructor is going to provide a directed prompt to that student. The student then will generate their burning question, the thing they think they most need to ask, and provide that back to the instructor. And the instructor can then look at that collection of responses and deliver an engaging and relevant response back to that student to make sure that they are still learning in that class. And the really cool benefit here is that if you repeat this over and over and over, we've seen that you can actually start training things like critical thinking and collaboration alongside your content. The problem is it's got to be simple, it has to be fast, and it has to fit right into the existing workflow of these instructors, because otherwise it's not going to get that adoption. So we realized we needed a productized version of inquiry learning, and that's what we've worked on building. In our system, an instructor is going to come on and they're going to start by building that focused, intentional prompt for their students. The middle of the screen would be a piece of content that that instructor has provided, and at the bottom is a pre-built prompt that they can change or add to. Students then come onto our system and they're able to ask whatever questions relate to that prompt for them personally. And when that instructor comes back to check on this, they're going to get an automatic organization of these questions powered by our machine learning algorithms, so that instead of having a list of individual questions that they have to read through one by one for hundreds of students, they are able to act on whole groups of questions all at once. So going back to Dr. Cook, before, he had those 102 students, and he'd have 102 questions. And now he's able to see these 3 common categories of topics that his students are wondering about. And he can provide just 3 responses that are still personalized, they're connected, and they're helpful to those students. And the result of this is he's getting an immediate value of the aha moments, the successes that he wants in his class, and it's taking him a lot less time than it would have been with other methods. But back to that really exciting next step that we really want to drive toward. If he does this week after week, so not just once, but over and over, he can start showing his students that their questions matter, that this is a way for them to take action in their learning. And those students, as we've seen in our classes, their questions get better and better and better, and they are able to, we can use that in order to analyze them and deliver an end of semester report to show how those students got more engaged and how their critical thinking improved over time. So we focus, as I said, really heavily on the instructor. We want to make sure that the instructor is getting that time savings and they see those aha moments, but that also lines up really well with what a dean is needing in their department. So the time savings is seen as a resource efficiency to help them get their job done, and the aha moments line up with the retention and outcomes that you're looking for in higher education. So we work with both of these stakeholders to create a partnership with a school. We've seen this work very well so far. We've had, of every 10 instructors we work with, we get 7 introductions to buyers, and we end up with about 3 purchases. And so far, that's brought us into 16 institutions for pilots. And we've also gotten some other great traction, like $225,000 of grant funding to help support this process. So where are we going from here? Our next steps are to take the rest of those institutions and convert them over to paid pilots. And then we've got some key product build-out steps that we're taking this spring. And finally, at the end of 2019, we're going to be building up a sales engine so that we can spread this a lot more broadly during 2020. We think by following this, we're going to be able to hit over $1 million in revenue by 2021 and help 115,000 students get this better outcome from their higher education experience. So the way we're driving this growth is that we're working with great partners like Arizona State University, who is both a customer and an investor in our business, to start with these large lecture classes, support them there, move to their online programs. ASU, as an example, is seeing 30% growth in that area. It's a great growth area for us too. And what we've been able to do overall here is take a research-backed process that can drive these outcomes we want, make it intuitive and accessible and exciting for the instructor, and then scale that up to online learning for all ages. Thank you. If you're interested in hearing more, feel free to talk to us afterwards.